we are looking forward for. And the sustainable development, that is the government of Pakistan is also, we have another project that is initiated by excuse me, Ministry of Human Rights, that is on human rights information management system. Is actually now the base of sustainable development and policy in our future.
Thank you very much for your great recommendations on this. And yes, we have seen a lot of mobile applications produced by the government departments, and like we download those applications on our mobile phone. There was a mechanism of like you can directly complain to Prime Minister office and they can respond on these things. Also, we have different to focus on use of technology for human rights violation mechanisms. So with this, thank you very much for the panel, Mr. Secretary, Ms. Lubna, the Director of the Human Rights, and Mr. Gul Abbas. Thank you very much, Shah Bytes. I would like to mention that that our team Bytes for All really worked hard to customize these systems for every department, and because every department has their own as per their requirements and needs, and we had a lot of work with Punjab and Protection Authority to customize their system, and for that I Bytes for All team as well. And honestly, what should we say? It's not it's last but not the least that we have Mr. Asif Iqbal, basically who is the IT brain of Bytes for All. He is standing over there, and he developed all these mobile applications and softwares, and yeah.
And with this, I would like to thank our moderator and panelists for giving this very deep understanding of about.
Underprivileged. I, on behalf of all of those communities, because I've worked with the Asia Foundation for under different roles, which were very short time bound, but from the mountains to the coast, those women who got the property rights, those minorities who got the voice, and today when you have engaged with all the stakeholders, parameters. So hats off to the Asia Foundation's tremendous team that has a journey of like 7 decades. It's in the safe hands and it is contributing tremendously, and we hope and pray that you will continue engaging with these stakeholders as torch bearers of the work that initially started, went through Farid Alam and Haris Qayyum. So moving forward, my intention was not to bore you, so I'll just quickly run you through what the initial responsibility was of this particular task that I took, and it is very close to my heart because it's one of the very unique studies that get conducted. We all get to hear 3 E's: economy, efficiency, and effectiveness in the value for money. We are very smart in doing that with our wallet, but mine is there somewhere lost. A gentleman told me, "Aap bathroom chale gaye, the wallet was here." So, but we are very efficient and very smart, and when it comes to our wallet, the 3 E's we apply, but do we apply them on all our development work? Do we apply them on our humanitarian work? Do we apply them in our all planning commission documents? Because the journey for this was to develop the BC1. Do we inculcate all those values? Are we familiar with the dead weight? Are we familiar with the drop-off? Are we familiar with the attributions? Well, we have. Okay, all right, we've done the great work. Since we have filled all the papers, and our project was very successful. So, the gentleman Farid Alam was my co-worker. We worked together, and that was the second study ever in Pakistan. And today, on this project, we tested that. Across Pakistan, the violence against women centers, the protection centers for the violence against women documents. The PC2 is a feasibility. So they always do PC2. That's like great work that always been going since the British era. So the idea behind this PC1 that we developed for scalability of the violence against women protection, it is a remarkable center. From the relief to the rehabilitation, all that I will talk with you, the woman gets that. So it was 232 million, and the government obviously for all the constraints, primarily the financial constraints, the model that we provide with 274 billion in all across Punjab, so it can be replicated. So that is something that we proposed in that PC1, which we would not be studying here, and neither will be discussing in detail, but we will be just running through SROI. So I have the remote, which I'm not very good with, but the center, the low-cost model, and this is indicated that I'm not just reading it because there's a chair, I can't read the last one, but ultimately you want to monetize the others. For instance, we did some work and we were able to create a livelihood opportunities for the people, for the women, or for the vulnerable groups. We can easily have the data collected outcomes, but we have the social outcomes, so the work was a little tough. We were trying to monetize the social results, all in terms of output. Stakeholders in two different parts. First we did their prospecting, and then we scope them, map them, and put them in a matrix. That matrix also allows us to see which stakeholders are actually high. We developed the tools, and in the next slide I'll just quickly touch upon what tools we developed. Next thing was we tried to map the outcomes. So it will be a slide talking about that. Can I request somebody to please take that last chair out from there? Yeah, and then that helped us to reach to the social return on investment. What it did was it provided us that in how much years of we had to understand what happened, why, and and always the best way forward is to see from if you're any particular country, see what are the constitutional that enable the authorities law that was enacted in 2017. And the good news is that they were both acts, right? We also get to hear a lot about the ordinances, that there's some amendments that can be rightly brought in. So we went through all these constitutional frameworks, and we also on the project side, whenever people like my friend Farida miss in my discussion was that here we were discussing about the digital part of the PWPA, but there's a social part that I witnessed. So what it does is that they are there to check the pulse of the community. So they send you the early information that there is some likely problem happening with stakeholders, and we do know that what happens, we have the expectation matrix and all other parameters locked in that stage. We had the qualitative parts of this to validate the outcomes. So those were the key informant interviews that we conducted, starting with all those who had the direct stake in, as I was talking about the journey. You have the stakeholder mapped and scoped, and then their priority in high, low, and medium was put into the matrix. So we had the key informant interviews conducted all across with these major stakeholders, and something that has not resonated so far. Even the police was very keen. I mean, there's a police station. Easy to say, but it makes me get terribly, my soul gets hurt when I have to use these. So when she's beaten up and there's a medical support you require for the medical report, so that is provided all the way. Then you have the rehabilitation, you give them the livelihood trainings, you give them the market connections, and you put them back into the mainstream society. And the dilemma is that society is once again not ready to accept, say, okay, this lady was gone to. So these are those But what these people, great people, are trying to provide is the whole cycle of service. So we engaged those stakeholders as well. So we conducted focus group discussions and the stakeholder dialogues. And then AOC is there, and we're hoping it will scale up in whole Punjab and then replicate in rest of the provinces as well. So at an average, 2,000 beneficiaries get benefited by this center. So our population for this study was 2,000, and we had the sample that we calculated on the basis. Data was then further put into the SROI. So now the last 2-3 slides will be only talking about what were the key findings and what were the recommendations that we provided. So there will be 2 parts that I'll put it into. The SROI slide we'll be looking at separately, but the key findings that we had through the qualitative tools that we use engaging with all the stakeholders, right from the women, their families, all duty bearers and other right holders groups, and the ambassadors, peace ambassadors, volunteers.
2007 and is the recipient of numerous awards, including the Human Rights Activist Award from the Government of Pakistan. May we please have Mohammed Tahir Iqbal on stage.
Today's session will be presided by Honorable Secretary Social Welfare Department, Mr. Abdul Wahid Sheikh. So I would request Mr. Abdul Wahid Sheikh, Secretary Social Welfare Department, to please come on to stage. Primarily we work in Sindh, so we have more geographical coverage in all over Sindh. We also have a liaison office in Islamabad, and I myself am heading that office. Of today's session, that first of all, Mr. Malik Tahir Iqbal, the CEO of Legal Rights Forum, will present about the progress of this project, and then I would request some success stories. So we have peace ambassadors here, so I will call them one by one. So the 2 peace ambassadors, they will tell us the success stories. Social Welfare Department Sindh will present concluding remarks, and at the end we have just developed inaugurating the website today. So this is the structure of today's session. So with this, I would request Mr. Malik Tahir Iqbal to please present.
Thank you very much, Haris Qayyum, and I'm also thankful to ladies and gentlemen, Asia Foundation especially. 5 मिनट क्योंकि हमारा सेशन टोटल 30 मिनट्स का है, तो I will explain our project detail within 2 and 3 minutes, and our participant will share 5 to 6 minutes every participant. मेरी अर्ज़े पाक पे उतरे वो फसले गुल, खुदा करे मेरी पाक पे अर्ज़े पाक पे उतरे वो अर्ज़े गुल जिसे अंदेशा ज़िबाल ना हो। कि हम अपनी presentation definitely international language, क्योंकि some guests are here, I will explain also in Urdu language, ताकि we will connect eye contact all of you as well as my share experience with you easily and slowly and gradually. Legal Right Forum definitely government Sindh के साथ especially हम इनके thankful हैं कि Secretary Social Welfare Department, और क्योंकि हम अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम को कनेक्ट करते हैं दस्तगीर लीगल एड सेंटर के साथ। लीगल राइट फोरम 2012 से closely working with the Asia Foundation, especially on Dastagir Legal Aid Center, now in convert an early warning system and peace ambassador. For Sindh Bar Council is the head of Provence lawyers community, and also thankful to Karachi Bar Association. Karachi Bar Association is the biggest bar association of the Asia. I also thank those issues, social issues, as well as child protection issues. We are working with government. They have supporting role. We are very thankful. Shaheed Zulfikar Ali Bhutto University Science and Technology and University of Karachi Criminology Department. Many activities organized, Social Welfare Department, Culture Department, as well as Karachi University, Shaheed Zulfikar Ali Bhutto University of Science and Technology. Secretary Social Welfare is also on board. They have also signed MOU for organizing these activities.